My name is Laura Rojas-Rozo and I'm a research assistant from Team 19. Today I am going to present the recommendations on individual and community-based psychosocial and non-pharmacological interventions to support persons living with dementia and their caregivers from the 5th Canadian Consensus Conference on the Diagnosis and Treatment of Dementia. Current pharmacological therapies for dementia have limited efficacy and significant side effects. Other recommendations for persons living with dementia, such as individual and community-based psychosocial and non-pharmacological interventions, are necessary for improving dementia care. The objective of this study was to develop these recommendations for the Canadian context during the 5th Canadian Consensus Conference on the Diagnosis and Treatment of Dementia that took place in 2019. For doing this, we carried out 3 phases. For the first phase, we conducted a systematic review of reviews for obtaining information on the non-pharmacological interventions available for both persons living with dementia and their caregivers at an individual and at a community level. Then, in the second phase, 11 experts in dementia care, including healthcare providers, managers, decision makers, as well as representatives of persons living with dementia and their caregivers, selected 5 interventions. Based on the results of the systematic review of reviews, they developed and graded recommendations. In the third phase, the recommendations developed during the second phase were shared with more than 50 Canadian and international experts in dementia using the DEFI consensus model. We provide 5 psychosocial and non-pharmacological recommendations for persons living with dementia. At an individual level, we recommend exercise, either group or individual, for persons living with dementia. We also recommend considering group cognitive stimulation therapy for persons living with mild to moderate dementia. We also recommend considering psychosocial and psychoeducational interventions for the caregivers of persons living with dementia. At a community level, we recommend considering the development of dementia-friendly organizations and communities for persons living with dementia and their caregivers. Lastly, we also recommend considering the use of case management for persons living with dementia. All these recommendations were approved by the Canadian Consensus Conference on the Diagnosis and Treatment of Dementia panel of experts with a consensus between 91% and 96%. For the first time, recommendations on psychosocial and non-pharmacological interventions for persons living with dementia and their caregivers were provided and discussed during the CCCDTD. These recommendations have the potential of having positive effects in persons living with dementia and their caregivers, as well as allowing practitioners to provide a holistic dementia care. These recommendations also have the potential to inform future clinical guidelines and policies involving dementia care in Canada. These are only 5 of the non-pharmacological interventions available for persons living with dementia and their caregivers. We intend to cover other non-pharmacological interventions during future iteration of the CCCDTD. Thank you.